Hello, everybody. This is Daniel Oliver, and this is a real quick video about how to create a quiz online using Google. And at the end of this video, I'll talk about some options of how to actually give your students access to it. All right. Now, the first thing that you should do is make sure that you're logged in to your school account, which is an actual Google account. You can see my icon there. If you see your icon in the right screen, go ahead and continue. If you don't, I'll show you where you might get a chance to log in later. Now, look at the browser address that I'm going to type. The website address that I'm going to type is going to be forums.google.com. Here we are. This is a kind of Google Doc, but it has its own address. Choose blank. That's the top left option, the multicolored cross, blank. Now, before we go into any of the titles and other options, let's skip over to the top right where we have our settings button. Click that and skip over to quizzes. This is the step that's the most important in the video because everything else you do won't give you the quiz that you would like to create at the end if you don't choose this option, which is make this a quiz. So slide that over until it's purple. And we are not, to my knowledge, using Chromebooks. You can skip this option. Let's pull our scroll bar down and we have the releasing mark choice. Well, I would say that you can do it after manual review. The reason why is if you don't have all of your students taking the quiz at the same time and they can see things like missed questions, correct answers, then you could have a situation where one student gets the answers and can share them with other students who take it later. If you're doing your quiz live where they have a very fixed window to do it, maybe you don't mind this, but I just want to point that out. If you want to give point values, that basically means how much each question is worth. I'll choose not to, just to keep things simple. Now we can scroll back to the top. For general, you can restrict, you can collect email addresses. If you want to give a response receipt, that's up to you. You can study the rest of these yourself. Here's another important option. Requiring sign-in, restricting to the colleges. Probably makes sense considering the content. Limit to one response means that they have to be signed into Google and someone can't take the quiz twice. If you want them to be able to edit after they submit, that's fine. For my quizzes, I usually don't allow that. And see summary charts and text responses. You can look into that. It's not vital. As for the presentation, I like to show the progress bar so they know how far they've gotten. I think it's kind of encouraging. Shuffling the question order is important. If your questions, if you have students who are going to be taking the quiz at the same time or in the same place, and the questions, for example, let's say in math, they don't necessarily have any relevant sequence, then you can shuffle the question order. For an English quiz, I often find that the order in which I ask my questions is kind of important because sometimes I link it to reading. So that's up to you again, okay? I'm happy with my choices, so I'm going to save. Give the form a title. Let's just call it first quiz. And form description. This is just a practice sample. Okay, you can write whatever you want there. Let's go to our first question. Basically, this bar is relevant to the quiz item that you're currently clicking. So if I click down here like I just did, the bar moves down because now I'm choosing from options for this particular bar, which is a question. Now let's look at our plus options first. Add a question. And you already have one that you're working on, so we don't need to do that. You can import questions. That's beyond the scope of this video, but basically if you've, thought out what you're going to do somewhere else, you can connect to certain types of documents to get that information over. Add a title and description if you like, add an image, depends on the type of question. Add video, that's a great option if you want to, connect this to some kind of online lesson. And add a section. A section means, of course, a different set of questions. Let's just keep it simple and say we're going to do multiple choice. Okay, what day is today is going to be the question. Now, sometimes you'll get these suggestions. Look at what we have here, add all. Okay, so I'm just going to put add all. Now, look at what I have. I have all of these as options, and I can connect an image to each one if I want to. Here's something very important. It is the answer key. If you select this, you have the correct answer that you can choose. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but I hope it's during the week. So let's just say it's on a Sunday. So I, as the teacher, know that today is Sunday. I can also decide how many points I want this to have. I don't usually grade, so it's more of a practice thing for me. I'm going to leave it at 0. I can even add answer feedback, meaning for the incorrect answer, I might tell a student, check your calendar. You can give any feedback you want. And what that does is allow your students to even be able to figure out what they did wrong and why it's wrong without you having to be there in case they have a connection problem, in case this is something that you want to use as a study piece, right? If you want it to be something that you follow with the discussion later in class. And again, for your feedback, you actually can link to correct information. You can connect a YouTube video as an explanation. So there are a lot of great options to make your learners' experience with this tool push them towards autonomous learning, right? They can figure it out themselves. Very important. If I'm done with this answer key, then I'll click done. But I'm not done with the question yet. I need to select required. So slide that over until the little white node becomes purple on the right side, because I don't want them to skip this question. It could be that, if you're doing a survey, some answers are not required because of the identity of the person and their particulars, but I'm clicking all of my questions required, and you have to select that option for every question. Now, we'll do the different types of quiz questions in other videos. I just want you to know how to create a quiz and open one up in a basic way. If you want to send this, then you can actually find different ways to connect your students to this. You can change the message because this isn't filling a form. It's basically a quiz. You can include that in the email. If you're working with another teacher, if this is something where you're creating content, you can add collaborators, meaning, hey, let's work on this. What are the questions you think we should add? And that can, be something that your department collaborates on. And then you can send. Now, what I actually do is just save this, and it's in my Google Drive automatically. All changes saved in Drive. Look at the top there. Every change that you make is automatically saved in Drive. So I can go to the Google Classroom and add this assignment anytime I want. And all of my students will have access to that. But to keep this video as concise as possible, I'm not going to show you that here. I do encourage you to follow this channel and playlist, so when that information becomes available, you'll be the first to see it. That is all for now. Enjoy your happy quizzing. Bye.